What happens when royalty meets reality television and refuses to play by the rules? In just 36 seconds, a carefully scheduled morning interview transforms into one of the most shocking television meltdowns ever broadcast live. A guest who believed she was untouchable, a host who refused to be disrespected, and an explosion that nobody saw coming. This morning's studio felt different that day. The energy was electric, buzzing with anticipation. Allison Hammond sat in her signature bright yellow chair, ready to welcome someone the entire country had been talking about for years. Meghan Markle was scheduled for what producers promised would be a friendly, lighthearted chat. Standard morning television. Safe questions. Warm smiles. But from the moment Meghan walked onto that set, something felt off. Allison greeted her guest with her trademark warmth. "Welcome, welcome. We are so thrilled to have you here this morning. How are you feeling?" Meghan's response was cold, clipped. "I'm fine." 2 words. That's all she gave. Allison, ever the professional, pushed forward with a bright smile. "Wonderful. So let's talk about your new projects. I know our viewers are so excited to hear what you've been working on." "Before we get into that," Meghan interrupted, "I need to address something. The lighting in here is completely wrong. This setup is not what my team agreed to." The crew exchanged glances. The lighting was standard, the same setup used for every single guest. Allison maintained her composure, her smile never wavering. "Oh, I'm sure we can adjust things if needed, but you look absolutely lovely, I promise. The camera loves you." "That's not the point," Meghan shot back. "It's about professionalism, about respect. My team sent very specific requirements." Allison nodded slowly, her voice still gentle. "I understand, and I apologize if there was any miscommunication. But we're live now, so why don't we focus on having a great conversation? Our viewers are so excited to hear from you." "Are they?" Meghan asked, her tone sharp. "Or are they just excited to judge me like they always do?" The studio went quiet. You could feel the tension rippling through the crew. Allison leaned forward slightly, her expression compassionate. "Nobody here is judging you. We invited you because people genuinely want to hear your story, your perspective. That's what this show is about. Connection." "Connection," Meghan repeated, her voice dripping with skepticism. "Is that what you call it? Because from where I'm sitting, this feels like another setup. Another opportunity for people to tear me apart." Allison's patience was remarkable. She took a breath, choosing her words carefully. "I can only speak for myself and this show. We are not here to tear anyone apart. I'm here to have a real conversation with you. But I need you to meet me halfway." "Meet you halfway?" Meghan's voice rose slightly. "Do you have any idea what I've been through? Do you understand the level of scrutiny I face every single day?" "I can't fully understand your experience," Allison said honestly. "But I do know what it's like to be judged, to have people make assumptions about who you are. That's why I want to give you this platform to share your truth." Meghan stared at her for a long moment. "My truth. Everyone loves to talk about my truth, but nobody actually wants to hear it. They just want sound bites, headlines, drama." "Then let's prove them wrong," Allison suggested, her voice warm. "Let's have a real, honest conversation. No sound bites, just 2 women talking." For a second, it seemed like Meghan might soften, but then her expression hardened again. "You know what? I don't think I can do this. This whole thing feels wrong." Allison shifted in her seat, clearly trying to salvage the interview. "What feels wrong about it? Help me understand so we can fix it." "Everything," Meghan said flatly. "The energy, the setup, the way your producers spoke to my assistant before we came on. It's all been incredibly dismissive." "I wasn't aware of any issues," Allison replied, her voice still calm. "If my team did something to upset you or your assistant, I truly apologize. That's not how we operate. But right now, in this moment, it's just you and me. Can we start fresh?" Meghan shook her head slowly. You don't get it. This isn't about starting fresh. This is about basic respect. Something I clearly shouldn't expect from a show like this. The insult hung in the air. A show like this. The implication was clear. Allison's jaw tightened, almost imperceptibly, but her voice remained steady. I'm going to ignore that comment because I believe you're upset. But I need you to know that everyone on this show, myself included, works incredibly hard. We treat every single guest with respect and dignity. Oh, please, Meghan scoffed. Don't pretend this show is some bastion of journalistic integrity. It's morning fluff. It's entertainment. It's a show that brings joy to millions of people every single day, Allison said, her voice gaining strength. And yes, we have fun. We laugh. We don't take ourselves too seriously. But that doesn't mean we don't have integrity. That doesn't mean we don't respect our guests. Meghan leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. Respect is earned, not given. Absolutely, Allison agreed. And it goes both ways. I've been nothing but welcoming to you since you arrived. I've tried to make you comfortable. I've listened to your concerns. But you've been hostile from the moment you sat down. Hostile? Meghan's eyes widened. You think I'm being hostile? This is me being honest. This is me refusing to play the game that everyone expects me to play. There's no game here, Allison said firmly. This is a conversation. Or at least it's supposed to be. But instead, you're treating me and my crew like we're beneath you. I never said that, Meghan protested. You didn't have to, Allison replied. Your attitude has said it loud and clear, and I've tried to be patient. I've tried to understand where you're coming from. But at some point, I have to stand up for myself and my team. Meghan's face flushed. Stand up for yourself? You have no idea what it's like to actually need to stand up for yourself. You have no idea what real adversity looks like. The studio fell completely silent. Allison's expression shifted from patient to firm. Excuse me? You heard me, Meghan said, her voice defiant. You sit here in your comfortable little studio, asking softball questions, pretending like you understand struggle. But you don't. You have no idea. You know nothing about my life, Allison said quietly, her voice steady, but with an edge that hadn't been there before. You know nothing about what I've overcome or what I've been through. And frankly, you've lost the right to make those kinds of judgments about me. Oh, have I? Meghan challenged. Have I lost the right? Or am I just saying what nobody else has the courage to say to your face? What you're doing, Allison said, her voice rising slightly, is being incredibly rude and disrespectful to someone who invited you into their space with nothing but good intentions. I don't care who you are or what title you have. That doesn't give you the right to treat people this way. Meghan stood up abruptly, her microphone nearly falling off. I don't have to sit here and be spoken to like this. Spoken to like what? Allison asked, standing as well. Like a guest who's been behaving poorly? Because that's exactly what you've been doing. I've given you every opportunity to have a good conversation, and you've thrown it back in my face. This is unbelievable, Meghan said, her voice shaking with anger. Do you know who I am? Yes, Allison said simply. I know exactly who you are, and right now, you're someone who's forgotten how to treat other people with basic kindness. Meghan's face went red. How dare you? How dare you speak to me that way? How dare I? Allison's voice was incredulous now. You've insulted me, my show, my team. You've made assumptions about my life. You've been dismissive and condescending from the moment you arrived, and you're asking how dare I? I came here in good faith, Meghan insisted. No, Allison said firmly. You came here with an attitude and a chip on your shoulder, and I tried to look past it. I really did. But I will not stand here and let you disrespect me in my own house. Your house, Meghan laughed bitterly. This isn't your house. This is a television studio that pays you to smile and be nice. And I am nice, Allison said, to people who deserve it, to people who show up with respect and kindness. You've shown neither. Meghan grabbed her purse from beside the chair. I don't need this. I have better things to do with my time than sit here and be attacked. Nobody's attacking you, Allison said, her voice exasperated. I'm simply refusing to be a doormat. There's a difference. You're impossible, Meghan snapped. Absolutely impossible. I'm impossible? Allison shook her head in disbelief. You walk into this studio with demands and attitude. You insult everyone around you. You make it clear that you think you're better than all of us. And I'm impossible? I never said I was better than you, Meghan said. You didn't have to say it, Allison replied. Everything about your behavior has screamed it. The way you've looked at the crew, the way you've spoken to me, the way you've carried yourself. It's all been dripping with contempt. Meghan's hands were shaking now. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. You don't understand what it's like. Then help me understand, Allison said, her voice softening just slightly. That's what I've been asking you to do this entire time. But instead of having a real conversation, you've put up walls and lashed out. Because I have to protect myself, Meghan said, her voice breaking slightly. Because everyone is always waiting for me to fail. Always looking for a reason to criticize me. And you think treating people badly is protecting yourself? Allison asked gently. Because all it's doing is proving the critics right. All it's doing is making people think that maybe, just maybe, you are the problem. Meghan's eyes flashed with anger again. I am not the problem. I have never been the problem. Then why do you keep finding yourself in situations like this? Allison asked. Why do you keep burning bridges? Why do you keep pushing away the people who are trying to help you? You're not trying to help me, Meghan said coldly. You're trying to make yourself look good at my expense. That's not true, Allison said firmly. I gain nothing from this going badly. Nothing. I wanted this to be a great interview. I wanted you to shine. But you won't let that happen. You're so focused on being defensive and hostile that you can't see when someone is genuinely trying to connect with you. Connect with me? Meghan's voice was filled with derision. You don't want to connect with me. You want to use me for ratings. Every guest brings ratings, Allison said bluntly. That's how television works. But that doesn't mean the conversation can't be real and meaningful. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. Meghan turned toward the exit. I'm done with this conversation. Of course you are, Allison said, her voice resigned. When things get uncomfortable, you run. That seems to be your pattern. Meghan whipped back around. You know nothing about my patterns. You know nothing about me. I know what I've seen today, Allison said. And what I've seen is someone who's afraid. Someone who's so terrified of being vulnerable that she attacks first. Someone who's so wrapped up in her own pain that she can't see how she's hurting others. You think you're so wise, Meghan said bitterly. You think you have me all figured out. I don't think I have you figured out at all, Allison admitted. I wish I did. I wish I understood what made you come in here with so much anger. But I don't. And clearly, you're not going to help me understand. Why should I? Meghan demanded. Why should I bare my soul to you? So you can pick it apart on television? No, Allison said quietly. So that people can see you're human. So that people can relate to you. So that maybe, just maybe, you could find some peace. Meghan laughed harshly. Peace. That's rich, coming from someone who's never had to fight for anything in her life. Allison's face hardened. You have no right to say that to me. None. You know absolutely nothing about my journey or my struggles, and the fact that you would assume otherwise shows exactly how self-centered you've become. Self-centered? Meghan's voice rose to almost a shout. I'm self-centered? I've given up everything. My career, my country, my family. I've sacrificed more than you could possibly imagine. Those were your choices, Allison said firmly. Nobody forced you to make those decisions. And yes, they came with consequences. But that doesn't give you the right to take your frustration out on innocent people who are just trying to do their jobs. Innocent people, Meghan repeated mockingly. Is that what you think you are? Innocent? In this situation? Yes, Allison said without hesitation. I have done nothing to you. Nothing. I invited you here with open arms. I tried to create a safe space for you to share whatever you wanted to share, and you've thrown it back in my face at every turn. Meghan's chest was heaving now, her breath coming fast. You're twisting everything, making me out to be the villain. I'm not making you out to be anything, Allison said tiredly. Your own actions are speaking for themselves. Everyone in this studio has witnessed what happened here today. They've seen how you've behaved. They've heard what you've said. I don't need to twist anything. This is a setup, Meghan insisted. This whole thing was designed to make me look bad. Oh, come on, Allison said, her patience finally snapping completely. Nobody needs to set you up. You're doing a perfectly fine job of making yourself look bad all on your own. Take some responsibility for once in your life. Don't you dare tell me what to do, Meghan hissed. You have no authority over me. None. I'm not trying to have authority over you, Allison said. I'm trying to have a conversation with you, but you're making that impossible. You've been making that impossible since the second you arrived. Meghan pointed a finger at Allison. You are the most condescending, patronizing person I've ever had the misfortune of meeting. And you, Allison said, her voice level and controlled, are the most entitled, disrespectful guest I've ever had the displeasure of hosting. And trust me, I've hosted some difficult people. The words hung in the air between them, heavy and final. Meghan's face went from red to white. That's it. I'm leaving. Good, Allison said simply, because this interview is clearly over. I will not continue to be disrespected in my own studio. I will not continue to watch you disrespect my crew. And I will not continue to give you a platform when you're using it to spread negativity and venom. You'll regret this, Meghan said, her voice low and threatening. You have no idea who you're dealing with. Is that a threat? Allison asked, her eyebrows raised. Because if it is, you should know that I don't respond well to threats, and neither does this network. It's not a threat, Meghan said coldly. It's a promise. You've made a very big mistake today. The only mistake I made, Allison said, was thinking you were capable of having a civil conversation. That was my error, and I take full responsibility for that misjudgment. Meghan turned on her heel and started walking toward the studio exit. But then she stopped and turned back one more time. You know what your problem is, Allison? You're so busy trying to be everyone's friend that you don't know how to be real. You don't know how to have an honest conversation when it gets difficult. That is absolutely not true, Allison said, her voice strong. I've been nothing but honest with you today. Painfully honest. The difference is that you don't like what I have to say. You don't like hearing that your behavior is unacceptable. You want everyone to just nod and agree with you and validate your feelings no matter how you treat them. I want people to understand what I've been through, Meghan said, her voice cracking again. Then tell them, Allison said, spreading her hands wide. That's what I've been asking you to do. But you can't expect understanding if you're not willing to be vulnerable. You can't expect compassion if you're not willing to show any yourself. I've shown plenty of compassion, Meghan argued. More than most people ever will. Not today you haven't, Allison said bluntly. Today you've shown contempt. Today you've shown arrogance. Today you've shown that you believe the rules that apply to everyone else don't apply to you. Because they don't, Meghan said quietly. You have no idea what it's like to live under the microscope I live under. No idea what it's like to have every single move analyzed and criticized. You're right, Allison acknowledged. I don't live under that same microscope. But that doesn't mean I don't face my own challenges. That doesn't mean I don't get criticized. and it certainly doesn't excuse your behavior today." Meghan's shoulders sagged slightly. For just a moment, she looked less like the defiant figure she'd been, and more like someone who was exhausted. But then the walls went back up. "I should never have come here." "Maybe not," Allison agreed. "Maybe this wasn't the right fit. But you did come here, and you had a choice in how to conduct yourself. You had a choice in how to treat me and my team, and you made the wrong choices at every single turn." "You're so judgmental," Meghan said wearily. "So quick to condemn." "I'm honest," Allison corrected. "There's a difference. And right now, my honest assessment is that you came here looking for a fight. You came here expecting to be attacked, so you attacked first. You fulfilled your own prophecy." "That's not what happened," Meghan insisted weakly. "Then what did happen?" Allison asked. "Explain it to me, because from where I'm standing, I extended kindness and got hostility in return. I offered understanding and got insults. I tried to create a safe space, and you turned it into a battlefield." Meghan opened her mouth to respond, then closed it again. For a long moment, she just stood there, staring at Allison. The silence stretched between them, thick with unresolved tension. Finally, Meghan spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "You wouldn't understand even if I explained." "Try me," Allison challenged. "For once, just try to have an honest, open conversation without the defensiveness and the hostility." Meghan shook her head slowly. "It's too late for that now. You've already made up your mind about me." "You're the one who made up your mind about me," Allison pointed out. "Before you even walked through that door. You decided I was the enemy. You decided this show was the enemy, and nothing I could have said or done would have changed that." "Maybe you're right," Meghan admitted quietly. "Maybe I did come in with assumptions." "And maybe," Allison said gently, "those assumptions are what's holding you back. Maybe if you stopped assuming the worst about everyone, you'd find that most people actually want to support you. They want to see you succeed." Meghan's eyes glistened slightly. "People don't want to see me succeed. They want to see me fail. They've wanted that from the beginning." "Some people, sure," Allison conceded, "but not everyone. Not me. Not this show. We genuinely wanted to give you a positive platform today. But you made that impossible." "I know," Meghan said, her voice so quiet that the studio microphones barely picked it up. "I know I did." It was the first hint of self-awareness she'd shown the entire interview. For a second, it seemed like maybe there could be a breakthrough. Maybe the walls would come down. But then Meghan's expression hardened again, and the moment was lost. "But it doesn't matter now," Meghan continued, her voice gaining strength. "What's done is done, and I'm not going to stand here and let you psychoanalyze me." "I'm not trying to psychoanalyze you," Allison said with a sigh. "I'm trying to understand you. There's a difference." "Well, stop trying," Meghan said sharply. "I don't need your understanding. I don't need your sympathy. I don't need anything from you." "Clearly," Allison said dryly, "you've made that abundantly clear." Meghan adjusted her purse on her shoulder, preparing to leave for real this time. "I hope you're happy with yourself." "I'm not happy," Allison said honestly. "I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. And I'm sad that it had to go this way. But I'm also at peace with how I conducted myself. I can look at myself in the mirror tonight and know that I did everything I could to make this work." "Good for you," Meghan said coldly. "Can you say the same?" Allison asked quietly. The question landed like a punch. Meghan's face flushed again, but this time it looked less like anger and more like shame. She didn't answer. Instead, she turned and walked toward the studio exit with quick, determined steps. Allison watched her go, her expression a mixture of exhaustion and resignation. The crew remained frozen, unsure of what to do or say. The cameras were still rolling, capturing every moment of the spectacular implosion. As Meghan reached the studio door, She paused with her hand on the handle. For a moment, it looked like she might turn around, like she might say something, but then she pushed the door open and walked out without looking back. The door closed behind her with a soft click that somehow sounded thunderous in the silent studio. Allison stood there for a moment, processing what had just happened. Then she turned to face the camera directly. Her expression was composed, but weary. "Well," she said with a sad smile, "that certainly didn't go as planned. I want to apologize to everyone watching at home. We truly wanted to have a meaningful conversation today. Sometimes things just don't work out the way we hope they will." She paused, gathering her thoughts. "I also want to say this. I have nothing but respect for everyone who struggled in the public eye. I understand that it's not easy. I understand that there's pressure and scrutiny that most of us will never fully comprehend. But understanding that doesn't mean accepting disrespectful behavior. It doesn't mean allowing ourselves to be treated poorly. We can have compassion for someone's struggles while still maintaining our own boundaries and dignity." Allison took a breath. "I hope that one day our guest today finds the peace she's clearly searching for. I hope she finds people she can trust and spaces where she feels safe enough to be vulnerable. But today was not that day. And that's okay. Not every conversation is meant to happen." She looked directly into the camera, her warm personality shining through despite the difficult situation. "For those of you who were looking forward to this interview, I'm truly sorry it ended this way. We'll take a quick break and come back with something a bit more uplifting. Because that's what we do here. We pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off, and we keep going." As the camera cut away and the show went to commercial, the studio remained silent. The crew slowly started to move again, but nobody quite knew what to say. They'd just witnessed something unprecedented, something that would be talked about and analyzed for weeks, maybe months to come. Allison sat back down in her yellow chair, letting out a long, slow breath. One of the producers approached her cautiously. "Are you okay?" Allison nodded, offering a tired but genuine smile. "I'm fine. Really. I just wish it had gone differently." "You handled that incredibly well," the producer said. "Seriously, the way you stood your ground while still trying to be kind. That was remarkable." "I don't feel remarkable," Allison admitted. "I feel sad and frustrated, but mostly sad. Because underneath all that hostility, I think there's someone who's really hurting, and I wish I could have reached her. I wish I could have helped." "You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped," the producer said gently. "And you certainly can't help someone who's determined to see you as the enemy." "I know," Allison said. "I know that logically, but it doesn't make it easier." The floor manager gave a signal. 30 seconds until they were back on air. Allison straightened in her chair, smoothed her hair, and prepared to switch back into her professional, cheerful mode. Because that's what the job required. That's what her audience deserved. As the camera light turned red again, signaling they were live, Allison's smile returned. Warm, genuine, unshakable. Whatever had just happened, she wasn't going to let it dim her light. She wasn't going to let it change who she was. Because at the end of the day, she knew she'd done the right thing. She'd tried her best, and she'd stood up for herself and her team when it mattered most. That was all anyone could ask for.